Welcome to Amberger Smackdown at TFN. I'm J. Christoph Amberger. All through summer, economists and talking heads have been trying to outdo each other, claiming that American consumers will be flat broke now, that they suddenly can no longer tap into rising equity of their homes to buy frappuccinos and Xboxes. Apparently, those economists have never refinanced a house themselves. Otherwise, they might have noticed that the incentive to refinance pretty much evaporated about 2 years ago, when mortgage and refi rates started to rise. But it didn't hurt spending at all, because salaries and incomes too have been rising all along with employment numbers and the overall economy. So imagine the surprise of the media pundits when US retail sales in September once again blew past economists' forecasts, while core producer prices, excluding food and energy, rose less than anticipated. Suddenly nobody's talking about a recession anymore, at least not with the same urgency or panic in their voices as, say, yesterday morning. Of course, it might serve us all quite well to remember that, despite what you may hear from the financial chattering classes, a proper recession is defined not as the gripey, whiny gut feeling of people who spend way too much time on their computer every day, but as 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth in real gross domestic product. That is negative growth for 6 months, not incremental decline in positive growth. More practical people may also consider recession as a period characterized by high rates of unemployment, high interest rates, or runaway inflation. Think Jimmy Carter without the nail gun, or Hillary 2010. Neither factor is remotely in place right now. Of course, if you have to make up something to feel bad about, you also require a bit of creativity. You have to turn the CPI report into a government conspiracy, or reinterpret job growth as bad for the economy. After all, it's not the highest paying jobs that are being created. Commentator John Malden even requires a brand new terminology. He recently introduced the term slow motion recession to describe the current state of affairs. It's a great concept, let me tell you. It's a variation on the ancient theme of vanitas, of futility, of old men wagging their heads at the youth that passed them by. A veritable license to whine. If I apply the same concept to my teenage son, I'd have to call his process of maturation slow motion senility. He may not quite be done with adolescence, let alone adulthood, but he'll be old sometime. He's deaf already on certain frequencies of the auditory spectrum, coinciding with his father's voice, and tends to forget his homework. Adjusting the concept to slow motion rot, I might also get out of doing yard work. In view of the real problems that the US and global economy will face in about a year and a half, such belly aching seems academic, ponderous, self-serving, and downright frivolous. After all, we have our work cut out for ourselves, making sure that we will all survive the real recession, the big one, the great Chinese contamination of 2009, with our wealth intact. There are 2 ways we can go about that. We could take a page from the Book of Hours of Nancy Pelosi, maybe condemn the uncivilized coup of Pippin the Short, who in 751 formally deposed Childeric III, ending the Merovingian dynasty. Or you could do something useful, like taking advantage of the opportunities the stock markets offer us in this last great phase of the bull market. Sign up to our newsfeed at todaysfinancialnews.com, where we'll be pointing out exactly this kind of opportunity every day of the week. For todaysfinancialnews.com, I'm J. Christoph Amberger.